Welcome to Lift Your Story podcast with guest JF Perotin, singer, songwriter, and known as the Rockin Królik.
Hi everyone, I'm Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I'm with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. Welcome to our Lift Your Story podcast.
In this episode, we have JF Perotin. He's a singer-songwriter and known as the Rockin Krolik. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Well, we're glad. So it says the nickname from Królik is Rabbit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
do
my
people call
nickname.
you? Do they call you Rabbit? Your friends?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to eat a lot of carrots, and I even myself identify myself as a rabbit when I was a kid. But it's my wife, who's Polish, that revived that nickname, I guess. It's like, I guess it's the same in English when you say honey bunny or
Yeah.
that originated from that. And Królik, yeah, it's rabbit in Polish.
Oh, okay. Cool. So you say it's all about the journey. So tell us about your journey.
Well, it's all about the journey. It's really that was the name of my project for the album. It's the title of one of the songs. And it's been a journey, like musically, it's been a journey to get to the point where I could record a few songs, and I guess decide to throw myself into, recording the songs and having a finished product. But it's also a bit of a dream, I guess being from the record generation, I think that people don't really nowadays, they don't really wrap their heads around how, I guess, maybe difficult it was or complex it was before to put a record out. Pretty much anyone now can put music online, and even on streaming, right? You don't need anything else but a recording and just get it distributed for streaming platforms to be able to play it. But back in the days, like having a finished product, having an album, which I have here, having this in my hands, I was pretty excited to wrap it up and have something like that, So all about the journey is started. It's like that album is pretty much 20 years of kind of writing a song and then leaving it on the side for a bit and then coming back to it, and some of the songs actually came pretty fast, and it's not very it's not the process is not set in stone, songwriting. Some come really naturally, and some you have to work at it a bit more. So it's based on experiences. It's based on way I felt over, I guess, over this long lapse of time.
You're right, though, is holding that, because that was a CD you're holding up, right?
Yeah.
And we used to hold the records, hold the CDs. Now you just say, well, go to my station, wherever it is, on Spotify or whatever, and you're going, it's not the same thing.
No, it's not. I miss having, as much I stream a lot of music, because there is it's really good to be able to have a playlist of all those singles that you've loved over the span of your whole life. Mm-hmm. But I really miss holding the record and even the artwork. I mean, it was just amazing what people would come up with, right? It's gone. I don't know. Is it gone? Am I not seeing it? I don't know.
Well, no, actually,
vinyl.
Vinyl albums are coming back.
Big.
They're coming back huge.
Yeah. There is a definitely people looking out for those, but still, I think it's still a bit of a niche still. Like, I mean, they're reissuing for collectors, but I mean, in my little bubble, it's more expensive to produce, and there's a bit of a risk of ending up with all those vinyls in your hands.
it's
which is you.
you know, like you say, all your stuff's been over a 20-year span. You know, you write, you may pause, you write. I mean, it's just like being an author. You know, you write a chapter, you know, and you wait and you write another chapter, but then once you hold that book in your hand, that's the key.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
Here it is.
Yeah, and it's the when the thing is I find that it's really interesting once you put your mind to something, and once you kind of break it down in small little chunks. I mean, you can achieve pretty much anything you want. And I didn't produce the record. I went into a studio, and there was a producer helping me out. So it's not like I fully did it myself, but there is pride in going through the process and learning the process, because there's so much to learn as you go, and especially in our day and age, to promote yourself, promote your music, be present out there, Facebook and Instagram and sorts. But it kind of, when you finish something like this, it really is just, I was really proud and happy, and it made me want to keep going.
So what
Yeah.
kind of music do you play? So what genre would it be?
So, well, it's rock music. I don't want to necessarily put it into too specific of a genre here. It's rock mainly, but I do, especially the album is fully produced. But most of what I do, and when I record myself, when I do the demos, it's all acoustic. So most of the time it's just me and my guitar, and I will have have an idea of I guess a sound alike. If when I go in the studio, I want this song, where I feel this song should sound like this record, or this particular artist, or this song. That also helps the producer, with some direction. But yeah, it's rock music. I'm very much influenced by the grunge alternative from the 90s. I would say that's my favorite era. But I play and listen to music from all genres. I don't rap. I can't really rap. I've tried. But yeah, from the 50s, 60s up till now. I was listening to Billie Eilish this morning, a live concert. So there's good in every era. I think there's good music.
I agree.
Do you play in clubs or anything?
Yeah, I used to
Well,
before we.
prior to COVID.
Yeah, no, I that's actually what I enjoy the most. Is performing is what I want to do all the time, in a way. So I used to play in restaurants and bars in the area a lot, just again by myself, acoustic, and I've like when it's like a year, actually 2 years and almost a half now, I've been doing a Facebook Live every single Friday morning. So at 8 a.m. I go live on my page, and that's been a blessing in many ways. The first is I get to perform, I get to practice even songs for the first time, throw them out there, throw myself out there. I've connected with people, that well, fans, I guess, and it's a great experience all around. Like really, just the performance, getting to know people and connecting, especially the last year. Especially the last year has been really good in that aspect.
Do you
And,
do anything on TikTok? Sorry for interjecting. Because I noticed that there's a lot of, well, they'll go on and do their lives or the little songs on there. I think TikTok's become a big thing for
Ye-
musicians right now.
Yeah. So that's where I think that's the generation thing here with me is where, uh, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't think that my audience is out there on TikTok for me to actually try and make a little space for myself. However, my music can be used on TikTok, so it's available for people to use if that was a thing. But from what I can see with the TikTok content overall, I think it's not really my audience. And after trying Facebook ads, which I guess it covers Instagram ads obviously as well. Um, Instagram ads, like, I never really had a good results with Instagram, and most of my audience is on Facebook, so I'm focusing there, and it's good.
Well, you say every Friday you're doing at 8 o'clock. You said you do a live, so you're
Yeah.
pretty consistent. You're always there, so your people that like you can always come back. They know you're going to be there,
Yeah,
right?
and that's what I find is important too, is the consistency, and and showing up, and the thing is, again, like, I don't even have to force myself. It's like I'm longing for that. I'm longing for that event, so that's fun. That's really fun. And I've pushed myself in the last, well, I'm done now, but I think I started last summer. I think it was my 80th, yeah, my 80th live, and I decided to, okay, so it's the 80th, so I'm going to do a song from 1980, and then 1980, 80, 81, and so up until 2021. So kind of also push myself, challenge myself to learn new songs, or pick up songs that I used to play, and do them again, and that was pretty cool. That was pretty fun too.
Yeah,
That's neat.
we've learned that being consistent on online is one of the keys for success.
Yeah. The one thing I found with, like, the online, the consistency is one thing, but for example, the business page, if you don't put any money behind it to kind of push, promote yourself, with a few campaigns, whether it's video views, and even if you're consistent, it doesn't really work. Facebook is not going to give you much room on people's feed. But once you kind of wrap your head around the ads, it's pretty cheap, actually. It's pretty cheap to get some results and reach people, right?
So
So
do you sing both? Because I know that you're also French. Do you sing in both languages, English, French?
I do. If I'm asked to sing in French, I'll sing a few songs in French. I don't usually, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I don't know if it's music taste, and the songs that I was drawn to start with when I started the guitar, and then you start accumulating. And there was never really I guess, I was never really a big fan of one French artist in particular, so I didn't really dig into their music that much. So I have a few songs here and there, and I actually recently learned, the Celine Dion. Celine Dion is doing a duo with a guy named Garou. He's from Quebec, and it was a beautiful song, and it was very popular in France back then. So I covered that for an event, a private event, a couple of weeks ago. So I'll definitely do that if I'm asked. But it doesn't come naturally for some reason. I don't know. I can't explain. And I don't write in French. Like, as a singer-songwriter, I write in English.
Ah.
Go figure.
Go figure.
I mean, I'll explain. I think it's mainly because when I started writing, I, I think it was a way for me to be able to express feelings without really feeling like I was opening up that much, if that makes sense. As in, I guess writing feelings and saying what I meant in French was more like literally, I felt like very vulnerable. Where I think that if I was singing in English, but not anymore, because obviously I know the real meaning, and I know the impact of the lyrics more now. And when I write something, I mean it. And I don't mind being vulnerable, but I think at the beginning it was like that, especially because I was in France. I was writing in English, but I was in France up until 2008. I was in France,
Okay.
so it was kind of like a protection,
Yeah,
a screen.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you play any classical guitar?
No, I don't.
No.
And I think it's because I'm not trained. I picked up a guitar, and what I did is again, back in the days, they had those little books, like the books with, the first one that I got was a Cranberries, the No Need to Argue album. So they had the piano. I'm not even sure how you say that in. It's not tablatures. It's the lines with the notes. How is that called in? How do you say that in English?
Lyrics. The lyrics.
The-
Music.
No,
No,
just
you're talking yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's really bad because I played the flute for all those years and I can't come up with it right now. I'm blanking out.
Okay, but so they had that, the notes, the actual notes for piano playing, and on top of that, they had a little chart where it would show you where to put your fingers on the guitar neck.
Mhm.
So knowing, knowing the songs, really all you needed to do is learn where, to put your fingers, and then, start strumming. So it was a very slow process, and I didn't take any lessons. The first lessons, the guitar lessons I took were about a year and a half ago. I took lessons to kind of understand more the scales and finding notes on my on my fretboard. But other than that, I just learned by playing either songs that I knew or playing songs, over the music, and strumming along. And I had I was fortunate enough back again, like in France, late 90s, to meet a French Canadian guy actually who lived in the city in the south of France where I'm from. And it was an amazing guitar player, like a real guitar player. Like the kid, is like, he was probably like 9 or 10 when he picked up his first guitar and started trying to riff like Jimi Hendrix and this kind of guy, right? So it was really cool, and he was not greedy in tips and showing me, and also pushing me. It's like, yeah, no, you're not doing it right, doing it this way, and it's just. So there was this stage with him where I think it sped up the process, and then we performed together as a duo, acoustic duo in France. So great experience, but he kind of I really feel like he took me under his wing and helped me out, taking off a bit, and then putting me in a spot where I could just improve by learning new songs, once you get and then you. I'm sorry?
I was gonna say it's interesting now though, where yes, it used to be books, and that's what I with my flute too, with the fingerings and all that.
Yeah.
Now you just get on YouTube and go through full courses from A to Z. I just picked up the guitar and okay, I only know 3 chords, but even the tuning process, they've got these little electronic tuners now instead of having to do it on
Yeah,
paper.
they got software that teaches you how. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so much out there, so many resources to tap into and find what fits your style of learning, and yeah, it's endless. Yeah.
Not before. It used to be all books before.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's amazing
And,
what technology can do for
yeah.
you.
It's what there's this website. I think it's Ultimate Tabs. I think it's still called Ultimate Tabs. And when the internet kind of sort of exploded, or was not even exploded, but was starting to be available, and it was late 90s again in France. It was probably 97, 98 that the internet was kind of open, like to everyone in France. And I remember just like printing tabs of this website, you know, to again learn songs, gets, you know, speed up the process, as opposed to learning, you know, from, you know, listening to a record, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back then too, yes, it was a lot slower. I think we went to Paris around that time, and again in Canada here, I was on the internet like in 1993, but I know
Wow.
the access to it was in Europe was a little slower,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I know, like in France, I mean, to not to get into too much details, but they had a little tool that was like a mini computer you get through the post office. And in France, it's actually that they didn't want the internet because it was competing with that tool that they had developed as part of the finding phone numbers, and you could find information and pay, as kind of like a pay almost like websites, little mini websites, but completely, like, if you compare at some point, if you compared both, it was completely archaic, like the look of it compared to what was coming on your computer. Yeah, that was great. So yeah, it didn't last long. The competition lasted long, but I think that held it for a while, though. It stopped the internet.
You're talking
Or
about dial-up internet and bulletin boards back then, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was kind of the way it was back then.
yeah. But it's true. Like, it's funny where you say that you were on the internet in '93, because I do remember a friend of mine living in Wisconsin. And she was in school, and she like in '92 she was already talking about email, which
yeah.
was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
I was on it in some form or another back since because the BBS like you were talking about in DOS, that was from 1984 was when
Oh,
I
yeah.
got on, and I was chatting to people all over the world on this silly green screen, typing to them. It was like weird. And of
Yeah.
course, you hear that sound. You don't hear that anymore. So,
Oh, yeah.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So on Friday mornings, they can hear you. Where would they actually be able to find your website, JF? Why don't you share that?
So yeah, it's Facebook, and then it's the Rockin Królik on Facebook. So and every, yeah, on that channel. And then I also have a group. It's a private group that's called Around the Campfire with the Rockin Królik. And that's more of a community of music lovers and musicians, or both, and both, that I kind of put together last year. It's been just a little over a year, so it's a good community. So it's a small group for now, and I don't necessarily want to expand that much. It's really, I wanted to keep it around the campfire. So whoever wants to join obviously is welcome, but it's not, I'm not looking to have like a 10,000 member type of group. I like the fact that it's friendly. In a year, I never had to say anything to any of the members. This is either, so I want to keep it that way. And I stream simultaneously to my page, the Rockin Krolik, and the group on Friday morning.
Okay.
And then on the Sunday evening at 5, I do Around the Campfire, but just in the group. So it's a casual, fully acoustic Around the Campfire. And then if some of the participants have requests, I try and take requests and play. Again, I wish, that's at this point in time, with the connection that I've made, I really wish we could have a real campfire, and be
Seriously,
together.
those are the most fun. I remember growing up and what was in London, Ontario, we'd go to Grand Bend and they would bring out their guitars and we'd have the big bonfire. I'm thinking, where are they now that I'm in my 50s? I can't find them. It was great when you're in your teens and your early 20s. All of a sudden it seems to disappear if we get to the point where we stop having them. But those are great. I think I did actually while I was in Sterling. We went to one day, we'd get together around the campfire and bring out their musical instruments. But it's just so nice. And you're right too, though, to grow the group, you get the social aspect of it gets lost if you have too many people in it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I realized too that there's a fine line too with the amount, well, first of all, because of what you get in your Facebook feed, there's a fine, an amount of, let's say if too many people post, then just people are still in the group, but they don't even follow it, because they get, hammered by, someone shared this in a group and someone shared that in a group. So it's there's a fine line there, and it'll be what it'll be. But I think I want to try and keep it just like that, a small community.
What's the best ways for our listeners to reach out to you?
You mean to listen to my music or to reach out personally?
Yeah, both. How can they contact you to hear your music or ask you questions or whatever? Okay.
I guess Facebook would be probably the best way to keep in touch and connect. They can send me message through the page, and listening to the music. Well, they can, if they're still listening to CDs, they can order the CD. But other than that, I'm available, from YouTube to, like, the distributor I go with is CD Baby, and it's one of the first distributors of online music, and they distribute anywhere, like anywhere you can think of that actually is streaming music, they distribute. So the obviously Spotify, Deezer, and Apple Music, Amazon. Yeah. So all these are available. And then, on the YouTube channel, the YouTube channel is a little bit better in terms of, like, if you want to watch the videos, because on Facebook, they kind of get diluted in the feed. So if people are more, I want to listen to the music or watch the videos, I would definitely guide them to the YouTube channel, which is also the Rockin Królik. There's no trick in any of the page name. Facebook, the Rockin Królik; Instagram, the Rockin Królik. It's one of those where I knew I had very little competition, with the actual the name. Even if I forget to pay, to renew my domain name for my website, I'm pretty sure it won't be taken.
That's wonderful. Really appreciate having you on. It was really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being our guest.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always really enjoy the conversation around music and art and podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts too. It's been pretty. I don't know if it's the pandemic that's been pushing a lot of people, I think, to kind of dial in podcast and because there's so many out there, you can listen to anything.
Absolutely.
Audiobooks.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And it was really nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at lifterstory.com.